Today's podcast is brought to you by Casper.com. Receive $50 towards any mattress purchase at www.caspertrial.com/SIBSB.
Until I met my new best friend, all of my boys say I'm tripping. When they call, I'm not answering. They always get my voicemail 'cause I'm...
Alex, are we rolling? We are rolling. Welcome to another episode of Sorry I've Been So Busy. This is the podcast where we talk to very busy people about what they are busy with. Sometimes we talk to not very busy people about what they are pretending or lying about being busy with. Today, we have a guest who's kind of a mystery, who's coming on in a few minutes. Not sure where he's going to come at. He's been someone we both know and has been busy in the past.
Both adore.
Yes, great guy. So much fun. That's Andrew Goldstein, by the way.
Hey, at Andrew Gold on Twitter, ANGEGOLD.
Yes.
That's me.
Welcome, Andrew. Great to see you again. My name is Matt Goldich, at Matt Goldich on Twitter, MATTGOLDICH. We're here in the Showbiz Studios. That's BRIZ Studios in the East Village. Check them out. They got their own YouTube page, their iTunes page, their website, showbrizstudios.com. They're on Twitter, at Showbiz Studios. You can find out about all the podcasts in the Showbiz Studios family.
We are part of a growing family.
Yes, including Alex, our producer, wanted me to mention the Carson podcast, which is Mark Malkoff's podcast about he only almost entirely exclusively talks to people who have direct familiarity with the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. And they had a recent episode that is up now with director Peter Bogdanovich. Who,
love him.
He was a guest on Carson, Alex? Many
Frequent
times,
guest.
I assume. Yes.
Yeah.
To promote his films.
Now he plays for the Wizards.
Yes. And also he was the you went with the joke right away, and so I can't go back to my real fact, which is that he was what's her name? The therapist's therapist on The Sopranos, right?
Yes.
Yes.
He was Dr. Melfi's therapist.
Yes, on The Sopranos. Please tell me that came up with Mark.
It's a disease,
No,
T.
okay, for episode 2. But anyway, so please check out all the other podcasts on Showbiz. And thank you to everybody who's been posting nice things about our podcast on Facebook, Twitter. The iTunes reviews especially help us a lot.
They're
Rate
very important.
And review us on iTunes, and that bumps us up in the
5-star ratings, very helpful.
Yes. Andrew, do we have a busybody of the week this week?
We do.
These are our fans.
Again, I was walking down the street, walking home from my monthly burger club. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've talked about it yet.
You did talk about it. I think you did talk about it.
I'm in the Gotham Burger Social Club. I was walking home from our monthly outing here in July, and I ran into some old TV friends, one of which was a lady named Marnie Blake Ellis, who I worked with very briefly, probably 10 years ago. I don't even really remember what we worked on, but we recognized each other immediately, shared pleasantries, and she goes, "You know, I've been listening to your podcast." And I go, "Wow, really? That's so nice. Thank you. How'd you even..." I mean, we're friends on Facebook, so I guess she saw the updates, but she's like, "I saw that you had Sierra Lindsay Koss on, and we used to work together at MTV, and so I gave it a listen. I loved that episode, and now I'm listening. Now I'm a regular listener."
Great to hear. Thank you,
so
Marnie.
shout out to Marnie Blake Ellis.
Marnie Blake Ellis, our busybody of the week, and also actor who played one of the sons on Home Improvement. That just sounds, the name just
Jonathan
sounds
Taylor
like,
Thomas, and then the other one was Marnie Blake Ellis.
Yeah, sorry, I had a big funny
Anytime
name,
it's 3 names, it's either a serial killer or a child star.
Yes, and also the other rule is anytime you get a sincere, nice compliment from a listener, you make fun of their name.
Oh, you have
that's,
to.
That's the way to go. So thank you, Marnie, for your patronage, your listening, and that we appreciate it.
What's been going on? What's
I'm in
happening?
the middle of a big hiatus, a 2-week break from work. And some of these...
A twin killing.
Some of these you try to plan like a vacation in the middle, and this one it just didn't work out because my wife is working, and so we did go away at the beginning of the long... there was a long 4-day weekend at the beginning we went away, but since then it's been a lot of me by myself. It has, I sort of I had set aside this time because we're moving soon and we're in the middle of
right. So you don't want to make any big plans.
We're in the middle of renovating an apartment, and so I thought there would be a lot of tasks involved. most of which, it turns out there have been several tasks, most of which
that
have
you're
been
not qualified for.
Yes, going and delivering a message in person, or like literally like going to show a renovation that's been done and then FaceTiming it to my wife while she's at work or something.
That's my whole day.
Yes. So there's a lot of that. And then I have had chances to like work on other projects, writing, stand-up comedy, things like that. But there are a lot of days where it's like, nothing for the day. And then I actually mentioned this to you earlier, tomorrow, of course, like everything jammed in at once.
Right.
So
everyth's slow.
Yeah.
For the whole break, and then you have one crazy
tomorrow.
day.
I have like a meeting with my wife in the morning at a place with our contractors, and then like literally back to back. Never happens to me, but I'm going to be running from like a meeting at a company to a photo shoot. So I have to get a photo shoot for the album that I had. But like this is one of those things where like it makes me like it actually plays into my hand where like it's going to make me seem at the meeting and at the photo shoot like, oh, I'm running to this thing. Oh, I just came from this thing. It's going to make me seem way busier than I actually am. And don't get me wrong, during a normal work day, I'm very busy. I'm rushing to work.
Sure,
I'm rushing home from work. I'm getting things done. But on a hiatus, I tend to be not as busy. I have, tasks, things I have to accomplish, but not like scheduled appointments, like back to back to back. So it's interesting that I have that tomorrow.
Why couldn't it be on a different day?
I know, right? This was the day that both wanted
now
to do it.
Now it's all packed into one day.
Yeah, but it is interesting because like it is like the one day a year that makes you seem like you're a big, important deal.
Yeah.
Where like,
It's good. It's a little ego boost.
Yes.
And then the next day you'll be back to having nothing to do.
It's not what I assume you're the same way where it's like when you're not that busy, you prefer to have things spread out to make yourself feel busier and also to like put less pressure on yourself. Like, let's say someone was like, hey, let's get lunch one day this week. You would probably not pick the day where if you had every day free, but if you had something at like 4 one day, you wouldn't pick that day because you're like, well, I have something that day.
Oh, yeah. When I'm off, it's like, I don't like
spread them out.
I like to spread it out.
Yeah.
Completely. And if I have one thing, then like the rest of the day, I'm not very productive because I have that one thing.
Yeah. I know, right? Yeah, that counts as something. I don't want to make it sound... I have been pretty productive. I've gotten a lot of, like, random things done.
Right.
And, like, so, like, I had all
well,
these...
those are the best off days when you know you have something to go back to.
And, like, I had all these VHS tapes that I had to go get transferred to... I've been meaning for years to go get them to transfer to DVD. And
they're all porno.
Yeah, they're all porno.
They're all red.
Like old stand-up.
They're all red VHS tapes
and stuff. And I finally, because the Move is like an.
Who is that old creepy guy that used to make
I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't think.
He used to make the VHS tapes and the mini DVs for everybody. All the comedians went to him.
I found a few of those.
And he used to print out the labels.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And Peter something.
Yeah, and he used to sit in his weird. He was like a nom-vet.
Yeah, I definitely felt like one. But this is the what do you call it? Like it counted as like me helping with the move. Like that was the thing. Like I was like, oh boy, hey, we're getting the wrap up signal from our guests. We got to bring them on. So, and we really are talking about non-important stuff. So
our guest walks right in and starts producing our show.
I know, immediately. Let's take a quick break and then we'll welcome our guests. For you, the listeners of Sorry I've Been So Busy, Casper is offering $50 towards any mattress purchase at Casper.com. This is something we talk about all the time on the podcast. Everybody's so busy. They don't get enough sleep. Their sleep is interrupted. They got their phone by the bed. They're checking it in the middle of the night. We're not going to change any of these things, so why not get a better sleep on a better mattress from Casper.com? To receive $50 towards any mattress purchase, go to CasperTrial.com/SIBSB. Again, that's CasperTrial.com/SIBSB for $50 towards any mattress purchase.
Hard on, hard out.
We're here with our guest. Alex, you'll decide how much of this you want to leave in. Our guest is here. We're very excited to have him. He's somebody who, first of all, co-hosts a wonderful podcast that both Andrew and I have been a guest on, and who we've known for many years. I used to write for a show that he was the co-host of on Fuse, and he's been an on-air personality for many different channels and companies. And I actually don't even know how Andrew. Well, let's introduce him. Stephen Smith is here.
Stephen
everybody.
Smith.
Hi, gentlemen.
I know that you were on his podcast. How do you guys? Have you guys worked together?
We
before?
met each other through Joel Solomon.
Sure,
Yes.
former guest. Yeah.
Yes.
We went to a wrestling. We went to wrestling together.
Yeah.
Joel hooked us up as wrestling fans.
Yeah, Andrew kindly got us Royal Rumble tickets to my first ever live as a fan, as a lifelong fan, a peripheral fan, I should say, because I go back and forth. Andrew got us tickets to Royal Rumble, and it was one of the greatest moments.
And we met before at Brother Jimmy's by Madison Square Garden, and
Yes.
we instantly bonded. But it's so funny because you were so around in New York in TV and production, and we actually never worked for with each other, but probably should have. At some point.
Should have. We actually one time, and you remember this, I got called in to do an audition, and they said, do you have anybody who you can audition with who knows food?
Yeah.
And I said, yes!
And he brought me in. We auditioned to be a host tandem on a food show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You rarely see the two white male host tandem. That's
Yeah.
not a common, it's not since Seacrest and Dunkelman.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that was my cautionary tale. God.
And they asked us to
I really should have gone in for that. I got called in 4 times for Idol, and I blew them off each time.
Really?
Wow. Yes.
That's a great blow-off.
Yeah, that was...
Oh my God!
Save
Let's let's do it at the top.
Oh, God.
So we usually do the segment, the blow off at the end, but we're going to do it right now because
Tell us about blowing off American Idol.
Dude,
Yes.
I am the ultimate cautionary tale. On our podcast, we did a cautionary tale thing where Mike Kangemi, who was a host on our podcast for a long time,
I know Kangemi,
Kathy and
right?
Jimmy?
I know Kangemi, right? He worked on Fuse with us.
He worked
yeah.
on Fuse forever, and he has this great story about telling the producer of Jersey Shore that'll never take off.
Oh my God!
Never take off.
That's
Never
great.
take off.
Yeah.
And
Nobody wants to see those people.
And then my co-host on Going Off Track, really the heart of the whole show, he does every episode. Jonah Bayer. He blew off the Green Day biography. He's like, yeah, I don't think I
don't
should
need to do that.
Wow.
And mine was
Why? What was his reason?
he said I didn't really know enough about the band, and I said that's the gig.
Yeah.
Delve.
Yeah.
And he didn't delve. And mine was I was working at VH1 as a host, and they brought me into audition for,
In LA?
In LA.
Okay.
They brought me into audition for American Pop Idol was the show at the time.
Sure. It was called Pop Idol.
Pop Idol in England.
Yeah.
And they brought me in, and the audition was awful. It was such a clusterfuck. They didn't know what they were doing. I was like, oh my God, if this is indicative of the show, then fuck this. And also, this is everything I hate about the music industry.
Right.
And I said to my manager this time, this isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
And what was the 4 times? What happened?
It was I went in once and they liked me and they said, "Will you come back?" And I said, "No, I think it's stupid."
Wow.
And then they kept calling. They said, "Oh, it's dumb." And then they hired Seacrest. In the story that they hired Seacrest because Merv Griffin recommended Seacrest.
Wow.
And I've never heard a bad thing about him. I met him once 1,000 years ago. Couldn't have been nicer. Hardworking guy. Started as a DJ when he was 15.
Yeah.
Really, he kind of
Seacrest out.
He kind of earned
Yeah.
everything. So when they hired Seacrest, I was like, oh, there's no way I could compete with that dude. So I was like, oh, I guess I was auditioning for the Dunkelman part. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. So they brought me back in again after they hired Seacrest to be the 4th judge. And they were looking at dudes to be the judge. And it was me and I think Stryker, who was a DJ out in L.A., he was brought in. And people didn't do it because Seacrest was on it because he wasn't very well respected.
Wow.
And I thought it'd be cool, but then they didn't go with 4 judges. And obviously, after 10 years, they fucking failed like I called it.
Right, yeah.
You were dead on.
They're now coming back.
They're coming back.
Oh, shit, maybe I have a shot.
They
And
rebooted it.
And it had its moments, by the way. I mean,
I
the
loved Idol in the beginning.
Yeah, it was one of the few that I actually kept. I had worked on a lot of shows where we had to watch reality shows to know what was on them, to recap them. And it was one of the few that I didn't mind watching.
It
at its
always
peak.
hooked you.
Yeah.
Do you really? I gotta be honest. I never watched it, and not out of fuck that show. It was just it's not my
No.
thing. I'm not a singer, not the song guy. I'm a song person.
Yeah.
So.
But it is funny how quickly that notion became antiquated. I don't know how you feel, but it doesn't really feel like nowadays in 2017 there is such a thing as selling out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like no matter how you became famous, that's how you became famous, and it's like
in the age of the YouTube star, there's no.
Oh my God! In the age of watch me fuck somebody, like that's and now you're famous, like that's.
Well, that's I would love to see you in one of those.
I don't know. I don't know if my wife would be into it. I'm really annoyed with myself because I had a wacky day and childcare to get to New York. I did a recording of.
We're doing the whole podcast backwards. We're doing the blow off and then no, I'm just cutting.
Oh God, but like what's annoying is. My wife is from the same part of Philly that you guys are.
Yes.
And I had this whole plan of, you gotta give me things to stump these two. What can I do? And it just didn't happen.
That's all right.
It's okay. I'm easily stumpable because my Philly knowledge ends after, I moved away after high school and never went back. And so, I was kind of like a homebody. Andrew's
you bring
more
it up.
Like a...
That was another interaction we had that was wonderful at Joel Solomon's wedding, which was like a whole weekend in Shelter Island.
Oh, it was wonderful.
Hung out with you and your wife, found out there's the Philly connection, and all I did the whole weekend was the Philly accent for your wife because it made her feel at home. I was just doing a lot of like, go down the mall. Go down Franklin Mills.
Hey, hun.
Hey, hun. What do you want? What can I get yous? Get an Eric Lindros jersey down at Modell's.
Eric Lindros. And for someone like me who knows nothing about sports, which is to my wife's family just anathema to life, they were like, I don't
get it. Does not compute.
They're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
They've actually said to me, that's interesting.
But like to this day, when it's like your wife's birthday on Facebook, I spell out the Philly accent. Like
it's your birthday, yo.
Go down, get a birthday cake.
Because you don't go into the accent, Matt. You don't.
I have been known to lapse when I'm home in Philly. Like I honestly, at like a high school reunion, or like if I run into people from high school at the Jersey Shore.
Where are you from, though?
I'm an Army brat, so throw a rock.
Right, so you were all over.
Yeah, originally North Carolina. I was born in Charlotte.
Got it. So Flair country.
Dude, yeah, man. the North Carolina chop.
Yeah, buddy.
Which I interviewed Jericho once, and one of the writers on one of the shows at Fuse said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if like he did like a wrestling move on you? And I
always gets pitched.
I applaud him for doing the chop, and I should applaud myself for going, I'll just take it.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because that's cool, and I'll do it. But I didn't roll with it. You're supposed to like roll back. I just stood there like an idiot.
Like a board.
And he just whacked it. And then he was like, you didn't roll. And I went, I'm so sorry, but I'm so psyched you did that.
I got one from JBL when I worked in the company.
Is he cool or not cool?
He was cool to me.
Cool to you.
This is all inside baseball.
Yeah.
Who's JBL?
John Bradshaw Layfield. He's actually he's like an announcer. He's an announcer now. Yeah. But the story with that is because I lived in Manhattan when I worked there. I refused to move to Connecticut, and he lived across town. He lived in a big high rise on the east side, and so sometimes when we would fly home on Vince's jet, like let's say on like a Monday after Raw, we would take a car late at night back to the city, drop him off, drop me off, and he left his 10-gallon hat in the car once. So I took it, and then the next day I walked it across town and gave it to his doorman, and that kind of scored me points with him because he's legendary as being like a hazer and kind of a dick, but that kind of scored me points with him.
Now, did he keep, this is going to sound like an odd question, but there's a backstory to it. Did he keep the hat in a case?
No. He was wearing it. And he left it in the limo.
I did a gig years ago for this'll age me, MySpace, and we did a music show, and I was interviewing Tim McGraw, and he wanted us to move the location to a hotel near an airport. So we just set up a room like you do a field shoot. And his manager showed up, and they had this lighting case with them, this road case. And I was like, holy shit, they bring an LD with them? They're gonna set up the whole room? He walks in, backwards baseball hat and Nikes. And he's like, hey, make sure you film me from the waist up because I don't want people to think
I'm not wearing my boots.
I'm not wearing my boots, whatever. And we get ready for the interview. They open the road case. It was a mold for the hat.
Ah, that's great.
And he pulled the hat on. And I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. He's like, you can't talk about it. I'm like, but that's all I want to talk about.
Yeah. I feel like people with your background, which we'll get into, have the best stories. Because you have had access to things you shouldn't have had access to. Like regular people don't have access to, is what I'm trying to say.
By the
way,
as
a host who's done a million field shoots, done a million studio shoots, met a bunch of people, they have the best stories. Like you and Damien Fahey, like those dudes.
Yeah. Well, he's got great stories.
You guys have like the best stories.
I've heard a few of Damien's.
The other way you're dating yourself is that every country singer now wears a baseball cap and sneakers on stage. So there would be no need to like not show your baseball cap because that
modern country is basically pop music.
But we're going to put a drawl to it. I think when Keith Urban started doing a drawl, that's where country music
Florida Georgia Line.
Oh yeah.
Their collabo with Nelly.
Speaking of country, how long did you live in Charlotte, North Carolina?
I lived there for about 5 years, but on and off. We moved back and forth from St. Louis a few times.
Yeah.
So I lived in St. Louis and then Indianapolis and then a country called West Germany that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's like MySpace.
Yeah, it's like MySpace.
It's the MySpace of countries.
It's exactly the MySpace
Tom
of Europe.
Tom was a resident.
Oh, yeah. Near the Bundesrepublik.
Yeah.
And then ended up in Northern Virginia because my dad became a defense contractor like every other ex-military guy.
Sure, yeah. And then how did you get into music and stuff? I don't actually know this.
I don't know any of this.
Oh, I am a giant cautionary tale. I helped a friend move to California and I had a degree in theater. I always thought I was going to direct theater, but I always liked bands. My friends and I in Northern Virginia in the 80s was a really big music scene back then, very underground. Like Fugazi was huge then, and a lot of
was Henry Rollins that
he wasn't there then. He had moved out. He was in a bit prior to Black Flag. He was in a band called SOA, but Henry Rollins and Ian MacKaye are both best friends.
Yeah,
and so years later, I got to interview Henry Rollins, and the music and talent person who books all the guests went in to do like the pre-interview, which is always the most fun, as you guys know. And he upset Henry Rollins.
Mm-hmm. Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. And he comes out and he slams the door shut and he goes, "I need you to go in there and calm down Henry Rollins." And I went, "No." And he went, "You have to. He's not going to come to the." I was like, "Fuck." So I went in and it was like talking to a bear. I went, "Hey, Henry. I'm from Fairfax." "Oh. Falls Church." And he was like, "Ah." And I went, "My friend like sang at Ian's mom's funeral, and I know you were there. I'm so sorry. I know she's like a second mom to you. I read about that. I have your book." And he was like, "Okay." And slowly
calm down.
Okay. And everything was fine. And I went out and I was like, looked at my boss and went, "I should punch you in the face." Don't do that to someone.
That's amazing.
This is why you don't have any sports knowledge, because your mind is filled with punk knowledge.
I don't know, man. I have some friends who are into music and sports, and I say, how do you keep that in your head?
Yeah,
because Andrew, you like sports and wrestling. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, it's like my friend Peter Rosenberg. He knows everything about hip hop and everything about wrestling, and so it's like that to me, like to have two divergent expertise.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah,
So punk was like, is that the kind of music you're mostly like, you know?
Yes. Yeah. For me, I mean, like, I think everyone in this room started with Weird Al.
Sure.
Of course.
And
that is funny. That is the universal language of 12-year-olds.
That's the starter kit.
I bought it with my own money. Dare to be stupid.
Was that the first album you bought with your own money?
First album I bought with my own money. And I got to tell Weird Al that story.
That's awesome. See, I told you. Those are the things you get to do.
Yeah, I interviewed him at a Bamboozle with that festival, and he went on before Linkin Park and had as many people watching as Linkin Park did.
Yeah.
So
and this was I'm assuming at the peak of Linkin Park's popularity.
It depends on what.
I enjoy the Linkin Park.
I like Linkin Park too. They're great guys. They're one of those. They're like every other band where people go, "I love that first record.
Yeah.
We've made more. Those are hi, good to see you."
First album I bought with my own money. This is very embarrassing. Yes. It was a cassette single, which kids won't know what that means.
No,
a cassette single.
Mine was also a cassette
Marky
single.
Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah,
and the A side was their big hit,
Good Vibrations.
Good Vibrations, and on the B side was. Their remake of
Walk on the Wild Side.
Yeah, and I played the shit out of it.
You don't hear Marky Mark like busting out the colored girls sing part. I don't know if that's appropriate.
And all the colored girls sing. What was your first?
I believe it was either...
This is a great question always.
Either CNC Music Factory
Nice.
or it was the cassette single of Voices That Care.
Wow, you were very philanthropic.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yours was Weird Al's much cooler. I will say my first concert was Green Day, which still holds
cool.
up as like a decently cool first concert.
The other story in that genre that I have is that in my house growing up, the presence of Genesis Invisible Touch.
Oh, that's a great record.
The cassette tape,
Yeah.
it was always in my house, and nobody ever claimed to have bought it.
Huh.
No, like, we could never figure out where it came from, and we all loved it. But my brother said, I never bought it. I never took it from somebody at camp. Like, nobody, it, like, came with the house.
It showed up via Invisible Touch.
Yeah.
It was just...
Great album, by the
Oh,
way.
good pun.
Thank you.
So Jonah Bayer, the wonderful rock journalist who hosts Going Off Track, we did a live podcast with Julie Klausner was one of the guests.
Yes, sir, of course.
And we were talking about, we got in this big Phil Collins, but the whole point of our podcast is you guys do television. Whenever you do the pre-interview, it's always so much more interesting than what's on camera.
Yeah.
So we want to do a podcast that had that kind of vibe. So it's great. You don't really have to plan anything and just see where the conversation goes. But we were talking to her, and it went on this Phil Collins thing with a live audience. And Jonah, he loves puns, and he has a column for Noisy, Vice's music magazine website arm, called Up the Puns. And if you're into punk music, you know what that means. But so we were talking about Phil Collins and how, like, he was going through a tough time, and Jonas, like, he was kind of suicidal. And I went, "You mean suicidal?"
Yeah!
And it was
man.
and it's the only and I've never done a pun since in front of Jonah, because I was like,
you're not going to top
I got
that.
it. I can't, there's
man.
nothing I can do.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I think he tried to butt seriously me afterwards, but I don't think it worked.
You were suicidal.
Oh my God.
So I mean, like, you've worked for, like, you've done, like, on-air stuff for how many different music? I mean, Fuse, VH1.
Fuse, VH1. I didn't do music at MTV, which is kind of fitting.
Yeah.
I did comic books, which is the other thing.
Yeah.
And then Yahoo. That was the last music gig I did.
Yeah.
And then...
So
yeah, that's
have
it.
your tastes broadened? I mean, like, obviously the older you get, I find the more, in general, the more forgiving you are of, like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you're not as, like, provincial about, like, oh, I only like this type of music. So you've obviously been forced to professionally, like, either A, pretend to like a lot of music that you didn't like, or B, just exposed to a lot of music you wouldn't necessarily listen to and then, like, learn to appreciate it.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, how are you, where are you at now in terms of, like, your music fan?
I love not having to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the best.
I don't have to care about any of it.
Just kids bop.
Dude, my I have twins, and one of my girls, all she wants to hear every day is the song from the movie Rock Dog, which is my fault for showing it. And
What is Rock Dog?
it's like we went to see I don't know, Trolls or something, and it was one of these movies that it was like from the co-director of Toy Story 2. It was that kind of thing.
The third animator.
Yeah. And it's like Luke Wilson, Eddie Izzard, and J.K. Simmons. They're just like, they had a gig. They walked in, they did a couple of voices.
J.K. Simmons.
But it's like it's about a dog. It's kind of a rude movie. It's like about a Tibetan dog, and it's this animation company in China. It's kind of fucked up. Tibetan dog, China. It's kind of
Yeah.
But he wants to be a rock star, and his dad, J.K. Simmons, wants him to be a guard dog for the family of sheep. And I've seen it so many times, but he writes this song called Glorious, and that's what I listen to.
Is it good?
Every day. It's good enough.
Yeah.
Which was how I defined good music when I had to care.
Yeah.
Is it good or is it good? We'd always say it's good enough, not great.
Yeah.
Is there anything your kids are into that you would like on your own, or have you gotten them into anything that you like?
What I like is that I have twin girls, so we play a lot of girl singers.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
And so my other daughter loves to sing Silent All These Years by Tori Amos.
Oh, that's a great song.
It is, but it's
Yeah.
incredibly inappropriate for a 6-year-old to be singing.
Yeah.
Boy, you best pray that I bleed real
Yeah.
soon. I cough every time that
Yeah,
lyric
you just
comes
like
on.
work. Yeah.
But the Antichrist part doesn't bother me.
How
but
did
the
they hear
cough,
that for the first time on like an
I
iPod shuffle?
I
or something?
played it. I was like, "You want to hear something?" Because she was like, "I want
Yeah.
something pretty." I'm like, "I got pretty.
Yeah.
Here's pretty." And then I pulled out like Natalie Imbruglia, you know.
Oh, Torn.
But because I'm a nerd, I have to go. And my wife, who is still in the music industry, would be like, "Shut the fuck up." But it's I'm like, well, Edna Swap originally recorded that. It wasn't Natalie Imbruglia.
And then
she's like, I don't know who that is, nor do I care.
And your daughter's like, I want to hear about Edna Swap.
And I'm like, that's right.
Did you ever read that Onion? God, what the fuck? It was an Onion art. I'm going to find it right now. Andrew, ask a question.
What about Garbage?
Oh my God, that's my wife's like one of her favorite bands.
Garbage is good. I just saw that Belly is getting back together.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Feed that tree.
Do you know about this? Your kids are how old?
6.
Do you know about this Netflix cartoon that is all Beatles music?
Yeah, we tried to watch it.
Your kids weren't into it?
Not really.
I watched a bunch of episodes just because I love the Beatles and I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, because I was like, what else could they do? They need a license.
The
Beat Nuts.
The Beat Nuts.
Kimowitz's family is very into that.
Yeah.
This is the headline of The Onion. Cool dad raising daughter on media that will put her entirely out of touch with her generation. And it's like, it's all about a dad who's like, trying to get his daughter to listen to the Replacements and like Miles Davis. And it's just like,
Do you ever see, this might not be on the radar, but it's a wonderful, it's The Onion for old punks, and it's called Hard Times. And it never ceases to make me laugh because they're writing to me.
Yeah, so
they said, "What's our demo?" Oh, him.
Yeah,
him. And my wife loves it too. It'll be like, girlfriend makes last ditch effort to escape venue, hiding in a box of merch.
Yeah.
And one might as well have said, "For Steven."
Right. Yeah.
And it was 40-year-old. Man, still angry about record that came out 20 years ago, and they're holding Jawbreaker's last album, who are my favorite band. And when that record came out, I was so mad.
Then it gets eerie. It's
and I was
really
like,
close.
How'd they?
We live across from Webster Hall, and I see just the crazy. I mean, music is still very popular.
Yeah.
Lines around the corner, fights, a lot of vomiting.
That's the only way people get to. That's the only way bands make money now. Is
a lot of torn clothing.
Yeah.
My favorite band is from Philly. Philly is like the bustling. Philly is like
Hall & Oates.
G-Love and Special Sauce.
Oh man, I had to host a G-Love event one time.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not your thing.
It was in Rhode Island. Rhode Island
chill.
is trying to kill me. Every time I've gone to Rhode Island, I've gotten deathly sick. And that was one of the times in Rhode Island. So I don't remember G-Love so much as the ambulance I was in.
That's the special
Who's your
sauce.
favorite band that's from Philly?
They're called Beach Slang.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and they are. Did you ever listen to Weston from Philly? Did you ever hear
No,
Weston?
but I've stayed in a Weston.
No, well played.
There's another band that's from Philly that's like a newer indie rockish band.
Hop Along?
No, I can't think of who it is.
Well,
Menzingers?
I just remember radio commercials. There were always the like local bands that got played, like Love Seed
Mama Jump.
Love Seed Mama Jump,
and
Johnny Green Jeans.
And Mr.
Green Jeans, yeah.
And
Tommy Conwell.
My buddy John DiCarlo, former Busybody of the Week, will love this conversation.
Older than that was like Southside Johnny. Was that sort of.
Oh yeah, Southside Johnny. Yeah.
Well, South Street has all the bars with the live music. And
I
everything.
dig Philly. I'd move down there, man. I'd dig it.
I'd move down.
Move down.
We'll move down. Go Fishtown. Get a little 2-bed.
My wife's family's like from Fishtown.
Yeah.
Which is apparently spinning back towards...
No, it's hip. It's Brooklyn, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Dude, the neighborhoods my dad always said do not, under any circumstances, even pass through, are now like fucking Williamsburg.
I was going to go see a band a few years ago. My kids had just been born. I was like, hey, I'm going out to see this band in Fishtown. And she went, no, you're not.
Yeah, like Kensington? Kensington was like, you were not allowed in Kensington. And now it's like Cobble Hill.
She played the deck. She's like, you're a father. No, you were not. Yeah. I'm like, where are you?
So
where are they playing? Oh my God.
It's insane.
Southeast DC?
The War on Drugs is what I was trying to think of. They're from Philly.
Yes.
And you live in Jersey now, right?
Yes.
Which town?
Yeah, Princeton.
Right, you're down there.
We're right down.
That's so cool.
Down there. Closer to
down
Philly
Princeton,
than
a little near Trenton.
Yeah.
Trenton makes the world takes.
You're hearing some Philly accents where you are.
Oh, all the time. We were in. My girls were in a library yesterday, and
those still exist.
Yeah, oh my God!
Oh my God!
Library is my favorite thing.
Oh, when you have a kid, all the time.
Yeah.
Do you do library apps, Matt?
No, I don't do library apps.
This is my world.
Oh wow!
I have 3 library apps. One, I have a library app that if I'm in a bookstore, I can scan the barcode to see if the library has it, so then I can save a little money on the book.
Wow.
There's a library app where you can just listen to new bands.
What?
Because bands their stuff goes to the library, so you can listen to it there. And then there's one that has video and comics.
Wow.
It's the greatest.
My mom goes to the library every day. She reads all the newspapers that they get.
Yep.
And sometimes they have like movie day.
Story time at the library is great because you don't have to take your kids to, it's like free daycare. I mean, you have to be there, so it's not really daycare, but it's like free entertainment.
Mine are going in a couple weeks because I screwed up and wrote June 26th, and it was July 26th. Lizard Guys. Lizard Guys, what do? They bring in lizards.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Fuck yeah, we're going to see Lizard Guys.
I went to this at the library where they brought in live animals. It was cool. Yeah.
Well, that's a good transition to your day.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I had one more. I have question.
I have a million more, but I don't want to take too much time.
Well, I just wanted to ask.
Mine's vague, so you go specific.
Someone in your days of like music hosting, obviously you interviewed like hundreds and hundreds of
my
bands.
question borders on this as well.
Yes. Someone or that you were not expecting to like so much, and then you liked them, and then you kind of hated that you liked them. Was there anyone who, based on their music,
pleasure?
that you were like, oh god, I actually like this person, and I'm kind of like annoyed
like Eve
that
6 came in.
Like I'm kind of annoyed that I like them so much because I never liked their music, and I wasn't expecting to like them, and now like that kind of thing.
I was never a Maroon 5 fan.
Yeah.
Not like, I hate them. It just never crossed my radar.
It's not your thing.
It's not my thing. And they do have songs now that I like, but I'd interviewed them a couple times, and one time they came in, and Adam was just not in a good mood. And I'd been doing it enough to know that, that's his thing. It's not me.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's one, you've done them where
it's like Henry Rollins is 1 and Adam Levine is at 1A. I'm kidding.
When you have you're doing the interview and you're off camera and you're doing the questions, and you go, so, one of these kind of questions, like, tell me about, which is a terrible thing to do to anybody.
Yeah.
But for example, like, tell me about the tour. It was great. Oh, God damn, that's where we are. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, now I got to go back in and do it. And whatever. It ended up being fine. But then a while later, we were shooting at Sundance. And Maroon 5 was playing a party for the network. And I was just up prepping, doing whatever. And Adam comes up to me and goes, hey, man, I am so sorry. I had a shitty day. I was such
This is like weeks later.
This is like
so he
6
remembered.
weeks later. He's like,
those are the best dudes.
And like, I was like, oh my! I looked at him. I was like, dude, your stock just rose.
Yeah,
like
that's
huge.
I 4 years doing the Buzz. Gavin DeGraw and he was on a lot because this is VH1.
Yeah.
Every time he came in, shook every person on the floor's hand. Remembered me, remembered a bit that we did in the moment.
Yeah.
About his jacket still had tags on it, and there was something in the pocket, and he was whatever. But always in your talk to you as like a person.
I've interviewed him.
He's a great dude.
Couldn't have been
Matt Nathanson, another guy.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Too. Yeah. I found most people were cool. Like, I've only ever had a few ding dongs. You know what I mean? In my career.
This is a super broad question, but all of your hosting, all of it, cool. Coolest story.
Coolest story.
Sometimes on the pod we just have to get to what's your coolest moment, story.
Yeah, I'll go with what just popped into my head and it relates to what we were talking about
That's
earlier.
what I want.
Is when I got to interview Weird Al, who had been a fan of my whole life.
Yeah.
Still. My
course,
kids say,
legend.
please play us Girls Just Want to Have Lunch. And I'm like, anytime you want.
I love Rocky Road.
Anytime you want. They heard
Fat.
They heard some kid. They heard "Beat It" yesterday for the first time, and I was like, I got a better song.
Yeah,
Eat It.
And they were like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, here we go." So I had my mother FedEx me the cassette because I wanted to show it to him, and I wanted him to sign it. Also, sidebar: his lawyer, who I don't know if he's still with us or with him, but he was the only person I've ever seen redline a release. Go through it and
wow.
no. And I was like, dude, whatever you want.
That's so funny.
Whatever you want. Just let me talk to him.
So, yeah.
So old school. Just no, everything. So I went in and I gave him the cassette, and I was like, it's the first cassette I ever bought. And he was like, oh my God, couldn't have been cooler.
Yeah.
He signed it, and I was like, I'm drooling. And it was great. It was a fun interview. It was cool. He was awesome. I know the guy's names in the band, and it was great, and all this stuff. So fast forward years later, I'm no longer at that network, and Weird Al came by and overheard my wife, who works at Fuse still, talking about me to somebody else, and went, "Oh, Steven, Weird Al interjects himself into the conversation and goes, "Oh, I remember him." And my wife, who is skeptical, says, "Oh, well, that's nice of you to say." She went, "No. He brought the cassette onto the bus. That was the first album he bought." I was like, "Oh!" She called me. She's like, "Oh my God, Weird Al remembered you." And I was like, "I'm gonna cry myself to sleep out of joy."
I love it. Those are the best guys.
Yeah,
such a good dude.
And honestly, I like to think that that's what takes people's careers to the next level is like beyond like hopefully in an ideal world, like beyond like your talent and your gift or whatever is like, the shaking every hand or whatever. You would like to think that like shaking every hand is what took Gavin DeGraw from like a guy playing his guitar in a coffee shop to like a guy who actually like gets to
that and the hats.
Yeah, that and the hats.
He looks good in a fedora.
Yeah,
dude, man.
He's got the case for it.
That guy looks good in the fedora.
I've heard, and maybe you guys have seen it in your careers, but I've heard McCartney's like that.
Yeah,
and he'll remember everybody's name.
Yeah.
That's just a learned skill.
You would think that he would be the Lennon if he was around, maybe not so much.
What's his name from the Daily Show? He was a writer and used to do the warm up. Tells the story of he just stopped Paul McCartney in the hall at the Daily Show and was like, "Would you ever want to do my podcast?" And he's like, "Sure, mate. Just
really?
Just tell me where to go." And he did it. And he did it. And he did. He's a comic. I forget, but anyway. But
Doherty.
No.
Pete.
Paul Mercurio.
Wow.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, Paul Mercurio stopped him in the hallway at the Daily Show. He's like, "Man, look, I'm a big fan. This is crazy, but would you ever want to do my podcast?" He's like, "Yeah, sure. Here's my number."
That's how I feel with Steven here.
Yeah. So those are the best guys.
Yes.
That's the best. And then it makes up for the the douches that come through.
Yeah, for me, I'm happy to say, knock on things that don't matter.
It's usually the people. Their people are just...
It's always their people that are worse than the actual.
Dude, I had heard like these...
I hate people.
I had heard... what's that? To make myself even more of a nerd and to basically just... I mean, this is a panty dropper. As they said in Pirates of Penzance, individually I love you all, but collectively I look upon you with the disgust that amounts to absolute detestation.
Look at you.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Mallrats. I hate people, but I love gatherings.
Oh, God.
Yes, that's Clerks. Clerks,
sorry.
Yeah, Clerks. Yeah, Mallrats.
Sorry, I didn't mean to correct.
Mallrats did that. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? That was one of my favorites. I finally got to interview Kevin Smith, and
That's a good one. That's one for me that I would love to.
I went to his.
He won't sit down. He stands during interviews.
He sat for this. It was on. We did. It was MTV. We were at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh yeah.
And he came in. And he couldn't have been cooler.
We did him. We interviewed him at Spike when
he's so great.
The Craig Carton thing I did.
Yeah.
No,
He's
sorry. I mean,
great storyteller.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's so good.
And he does not stay to time. He's way over.
Okay,
he's a long talker.
He kept going.
A big fan.
So we got to ask about your day and what your typical day is like now, or like what a day was like for you this week. And I want. Let's do that first, but let's not forget to talk about, because you mentioned Pirates of Penzance and your theater background. I want to talk about your theater, your theater stuff that you're involed in. But
we'll get into it.
We'll get into it.
What's your day like? Start to finish. Let's go,
dude. I'm a stay-at-home dad. That is my life now.
Awesome,
and it is awesome. It is great. It is stressful. It is one of those jobs you cannot take for granted.
Yeah.
And it is thankless because they're not. Because how old's yours now? 2?
2, yeah.
2. Because they're not born with manuals.
No.
And what is it? Jim Gaffigan has that great joke. It's like, well, I failed through that again. And that's how I feel every night. I go to bed going, some damage was caused.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do.
And you have 6-year-old twin girls.
6-year-old twin girls.
And how long have you been a stay-at-home dad, would you say?
Since they were 3.
Okay.
So 3 years. So I had been, we live in the freelance TV world.
Yeah.
And was auditioning, doing the thing, living the life. And we had a nanny who helped out, and she was going to move right when they were starting preschool. And my wife and I had that conversation where it was, hey, you don't work as much as me. You stay home. And I went, okay, I will hang and take the hit. And that's just life.
Mr. Mom.
It's just life, totally. What was it, 2022, whatever it takes. It's the line from Mr. Mom. It's nothing. But very sexist film, Mr. Mom.
That's okay.
Think about it. So a typical day for me is I keep 2 people alive.
Yes.
That's what I do.
That is what it's all about.
When do they wake you up?
My kids are good. They wake up between 7:30 and 8
That's
because
great.
I have I'm almost to the sleeping in hump. I'm almost to like around 8 you
where
can sleep in
they
again.
understand it.
Where they'll like, and now you have these magical iPads that I don't give them iPads. That's a special thing.
Screens, sure.
So they can be glow children on the weekends, but during the week no. So my wife bought them these clocks that are have timers on them, and it's a cool clock. It's digital, but then it has a digital actual clock face, so that it's supposed to teach them time, which I don't care about. And if you hit the button, it says 12:24, which they love doing. 12:24. Now it's 12:25. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I programmed this light to go on at 8 p.m. and then it goes off at 8 a.m. So if they wake up and that light's not off, better fucking stay in that room. Do not come in. They don't abide by it.
Wow.
Because I got into trouble. Because one of them was like, I have to pee.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go, and then I have to add caveats, which kids don't understand.
They find all the
Yeah.
loopholes.
Well, I'm already out in the hall.
Yeah.
Why don't I come jump on you?
Yeah.
Why not? And
Right.
like, ow, that's you
My
hit that
knee-
spot again.
Sure.
So
That's
that's how my day usually starts with them rolling. But they've been sleeping a little late because summer's weird. Daylight saving, which I hate.
Yeah.
I was so thrilled with Veep where they attacked
Oh
it.
yeah, that was so great.
Because I was like, oh my god, I'm with him.
Yeah.
I hate it. And when you have children, you hate it even more. I grew up all over the place, and I lived in Indiana, which doesn't follow daylight saving.
I don't think I knew that.
And then I moved to Europe,
like camp.
which doesn't follow it because they're civilized. And then I moved to Virginia when I was 13, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I don't understand it. And now we deal with it here, and my kids are like, I'm not going to bed. The sun is there.
Right.
As he points on the podcast, hoping people get it. The sun is I'm not going to bed. And I have to be like, no, you have to, you know what? You don't. Because this is stupid.
If the sun's out, it's so...
Sun's out.
Yeah.
Sun's out, kids out.
Buns
That's what I say.
So 8 o'clock, they're up.
So 8 o'clock, they're up. Now it's summer, so it's different.
They going to camp?
Next week, they're going to a cooking camp.
Ooh.
Which is fun.
See, everything's like specialized.
They're psyched about. Yeah, you can find a camp for anything. Well, a lot of people, there. Both parents are working. They got
Speaking
stuff
of
going
cooking,
on.
you make breakfast?
No, I don't. I don't cook at all, and it's awful.
You're just like, here's cereal?
Yeah, man. Here you go. Alphabets.
Whatever.
I got
Alphabets. Wow.
Yeah. Well, because
Old school.
You want to teach them to spell?
Yeah, literally.
Sure.
I'm like, write your name, then eat it. So we got alphabets. They still drink milk, which I think is weird.
That's good.
I've always thought it's weird.
It's good for their bones.
Nah, it's bullshit. Dairy's garbage. It's weird. It's weird.
I grew up drinking milk.
I don't understand it. I've never understood it. My mom's allergic to it, so we never had it.
Got it.
We had it
Okay.
as an ingredient. So and then as I got older, I'm like, who said try that? Like,
Yeah.
who looked at that and said, you think? Like, I don't know. It's
My
weird.
dad drank 2 glasses of milk with every meal through into college. Wow. And only then realized he was lactose intolerant. The whole time was getting just horribly sick and had no idea what to do. And read an article about lactose intolerance, and then
Maybe this is.
Yeah.
I used to drink like vitamin D, like the full whole milk,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
like 2%.
I've heard
but now I can't. It's skim or nothing.
I've heard it doesn't matter.
No, I've heard whole milk is better. In fact,
Yeah.
I only have a little bit of it because I put it in my coffee, but I use whole milk.
Well, it was a big deal in my house because you had to alert my mom if you finished the milk.
I just think it's weird.
You couldn't finish it.
I like cheese, and
cheese is the best.
I aspire to be a vegan. I aspire to.
Yeah. Do you pack lunches?
No, because where we live in Jersey, there was morning or afternoon kindergarten. So kindergarten was only 2.5 hours, and they got afternoon, which for all you parents out there, if you can have it in the morning, have it in the morning.
Yeah.
Because afternoon was rough because there's a lot of kids who would go to preschool and hang out before and then go to kindergarten, and we just hung out.
Yeah.
Right.
So then when they're like,
So you just finished kindergarten, your
they
kids.
just finished.
Then you have 3 hours, and then they have to go to school.
Yes.
That's tough.
They're like, I don't want to leave.
You got to get that
Yeah.
over with.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
What were
tough.
your mornings like?
We would do. They would play. So one of the cool things about having multiples is that you can neglect.
Yeah.
Because then they can play. And they
Right.
play together. And around 2 is when they started playing together. So you have Uno.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is hard because they're like,
Yeah. It's either you or the TV.
Play with me, play with me,
Yeah.
play with me, play with me. And you're like, for the love of God.
Yeah.
I have to. Do you want to stay alive till tomorrow? You have to let me do things.
Right.
And so they would play. And so when the weather got nice, I'd be like, let's go outside and do stuff. But they're playing nicely together.
Right.
Which is their siblings. So you don't want to interrupt that.
Yeah, of course.
So some days they wouldn't get dressed for school till like 11:30 because they
Yeah.
were just playing in the
Interesting
house.
the morning or afternoon.
Yeah.
I just always think of it as first thing in the morning.
Yeah. It was very weird.
Newfangled.
So is next year a full day?
Next year's a full day. They've never done it.
Right.
That'll be good for you.
This is
will
the
be.
you.
I got to work. God damn it.
Well, you've toughed it out. You've reached the point where being a stay-at-home dad is actually, I don't want to say not that hard, but it actually is like you're over the hump to the point where it's like, oh, now you're going to do whatever you want all day, most of the day for like 6-7 hours.
Yeah, I got to find something. I got to find that sweet spot of, let's see, how can I work now between 9 and 3 and be home for them when they get home? What can I do? And then I'm in that weird age of I did a lot of TV, and then I moved into web stuff, but it was web stuff prior to YouTube, and now I'm like, well, now what? Crap, how do I monetize that? What do I do? Do I want to? And I've talked to enough bands, and it's like, do I want to go back to doing that? Well, I got to book it myself, and it's a weird. I'm calling it my second act. I'm trying to figure out what my second act is.
Second career. It happens all the time.
Just trying to figure it out.
Can you write?
Physically?
No, I meant yeah.
With alphabets.
Literally?
Yes.
Well, could you try to write a book of some kind about your experiences? I mean, wouldn't that?
Thought about it, but I have this self-esteem issue, which is 10 years of therapy is just starting to address. Big therapy proponent, and it's working. But I've always my first thought is always, who the fuck am I? Which was always how I felt whenever I would host something, because my thought is like, just thank you so much for being here. Shit, you're here because your publicist said you had to. Thanks for taking the time. Who the fuck am I asking you about your art?
Well, that's part of what made you a great host. Is that it's all about showcasing the guests. You're not there to like impose your No,
but sometimes I couldn't help it. I've been told by my friends, and I was always so embarrassed after. They'd be like, "Hey, you hated them, didn't you?"
Yeah.
And I would go, "Oh, damn subjectivity."
Yeah.
That registered?
Yeah. Damn, fuck. Nice people.
Right.
But as we would always say, being nice doesn't make up for bad music. But again, who the fuck am I? I've never written a song. I can't play guitar.
Right. Well, a book could work.
Could try it. We'll see.
I like that idea.
We'll see what happens. I thought about doing the blog thing. I was just talking about like the dad blog. Like, do we need another one of those? We need a bad dad pun.
Punk dad blog.
And then every time I start writing it, I'm like, oh, God, if I print that, they're going to call it Child Protective Service. Because they're not going to get that it's satire. Yeah. And also, I'm just sad. Because when you're a parent, you could have the best days of your life, and then you'll have a day where you're like, I think I yelled a little too hard. And that's all I'm going to focus on. So that's what I'm going to write about. Like, no, we don't need sad dad. Oh, maybe I just created my blog, sad
What
dad.
about dad friends?
Do you have dad friends?
You have dad friends, the drop off, the pickup, the play dates?
No, I'm like the only dude at the school, which makes it weird because then you're reaching out to like someone's
so it's all
wife. Hey, do you want to?
Yeah, you can't do that.
Do you want?
That's so interesting.
Do you want to come over with your child and have them play, and we'll talk because they are friends at school? And you know what? I'm not going to send this email.
Yeah,
that's so interesting.
I've talked to somebody.
How do you navigate
before
that?
Where, the couples were friends. And the one was a stay-at-home dad and the stay-at-home mom, and it wasn't like anything bad happened, but like even something as like innocent as like the stay-at-home parents like just having an inside joke about something about
that'll
their kids
piss off a wife
was not happy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, but luckily like they have a nice crew of people in the neighborhood. That I've even had, I had this moment, I've never had it in my life, where I was getting the car fixed. It, of course, took longer than it was supposed to. And I had to go pick them up at school, and I was nowhere near it. And I had to be like, oh, my God, can you sign them out?
Yeah.
And they're like, yes.
Oh, there's like a sign out thing.
And I was like, I'll meet you. Yeah.
I was always the last to be picked up everywhere. My mom was always late.
Yeah, I've met those parents, and they always blame the school.
No,
I mean, it's supposed to be
my mom
3:10.
blamed TJ Maxx
Oh, there
That's
you go.
so funny.
or the post office.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, there's a lot of sad protocols to picking up your child that have to be necessary because we live in this country.
Yeah.
Sorry to anyone who disagrees, but
It's a new world.
What are your evenings like?
so much hate. No, the evenings is just that. It's just get everybody to bed, and I deal with two very different personalities. I don't have identical twins. I have two siblings born at the same time.
Right.
Luckily, my wife is a twin, so she can.
Oh, wow.
Now it all makes sense.
It all makes sense. Yeah, no. My kids they were made in a lab. They're GMOs, so there's nothing.
Got it.
We had issues, and it worked out. It's great, and we're very, very happy. Go fertility clinics. Thank you. But which is such a weird thing to say.
Get that on a T-shirt, bud.
Yeah, go fertility clinics. People might say, "Go, yeah, get them out of here." No. Keep them. But the evenings are. They eat because my wife works in entertainment, so you work later hours.
Yeah.
So just for her to get home, like we never eat together during the week.
Yeah.
The kids eat earlier. My children eat garbage because that was a battle I chose not to fight. Every year we go to the pediatrician, they go, "Wow, they grew 3 inches," and I'm like, "I don't know how."
Yeah.
Because apparently carbs and candy makes them live.
Yeah.
And I don't.
You're cool, Dad.
I don't. No. I've given up because it was a fight.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't, like, you want a fucking hot dog every day? You'll get a hot dog every day.
Yeah.
Every damn
Right.
day.
Fish sticks.
That's what you want. You want a Purdue dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets and crisper fries? I am your chef.
Yeah.
I am
I
your
love it.
Guy
This is so
Fieri.
great.
I am the guy.
That's all the good stuff.
And mom's not here? You want to watch TV? We will watch TV while we eat.
Yeah.
That will happen. Also, sit down while you eat. Because
There
my
you-
children eat on their toes. They stand
Yeah.
like on their toes, and it's just one of those things. I'm like, oh my God, I am my father.
Yeah.
Just sit down.
Yeah.
Just sit down.
Yeah.
And I've had people go, oh, they're at home. Let them. They have to sit down in school. I'm like, no. They push on the table, and Sears only had one. It was on sale, and
They
they're
want
going
to get up.
They're going to mess with it.
So
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, they're weird. They're fun. Kids.
And then what's their bed? Well, we talked about bedtime, but
I try for 8:30, get him in by 9, but then when my wife comes home, it's like,
mommy's up.
Yeah.
and then it fires up, and then there's guilt because she wants to see
Sure,
them and
spend
hang
some
out,
time.
and they go to bed late. So next year's going to be
Well, 'cause- yeah.
hard for both of them.
And then is there time to watch like a Netflix show with your wife?
Or you guys eat dinner separately?
You guys
and
eat
your
dinner?
wife?
She doesn't eat dinner. She always gets like a late lunch, and
Got
she'll
it.
come home and I'll be like, "What do you want to eat?" Because one, I don't cook and I can't, which is to say that I won't. And I'll be like, "What would you like to eat?" She's like, "I had a late lunch. I'll just eat cereal," which sounds really sad. But then she'll get to eat quickly and see the girls and
Right.
that kind of thing. Or I'd like to thank Trader Joe's for their guilt-free meals. They're wonderful. She can eat that.
I was
very
just
quickly.
telling Alex because his refrigerator is literally empty. I was like, go to Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Get a few things.
Everything. That Japanese fried
that
rice,
fast?
buddy.
Yeah.
You add some butter with olive oil, some Smart Balance, and some soy sauce.
And you say you don't cook.
get a little umami in that
Look-
shit. Dude, if I didn't have a
Hey.
microwave, my kids wouldn't eat.
I'm a big toaster oven guy.
Yeah.
Microwaves are awesome because they sanitize the shit out of your food.
Yeah.
Because there are no germs in it.
Yeah.
You get a stove, germs. You get a sink, it's garbage. Toaster oven, I'm a big fan of toaster ovens.
I
more
love the toaster
splatter, the
oven.
better.
Last time I lived by myself, I did not have a microwave.
Yeah.
And I just used the toaster oven or the stovetop.
We don't have a microwave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dude. There's a lot of.
That's
I
so
love the
interesting.
microwave. But now they're making. I've been working on a little more independent, so they're making their own sandwiches and
Make yourself a dang quesadilla.
toast. Yeah, Dan quesadilla.
What time you
Napoleon
go?
Dynamite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice. Good one.
I feel like, do you stay up late or are you exhausted? I feel like you
I'm
stay
exhausted.
up late.
I try to stay up late. Last night I stayed up late.
You
because
try to stay up late.
I
That's
try
so
to
funny.
because I can't have the day start again without
Yeah.
having something that I got to do.
Yeah.
And I
You have a man cave?
I do, and it's now a storage unit for everything else.
Right.
When my kids were born, my father thought it would be funny to bring up every box of comic books I had, and I have 31 of them, and they hold 300 each because I was a giant dork. So that's the man cave now, and it's full of.
You just go down there and read comics?
No, there's nothing. I can't. It's a
They're
storage.
just boxes.
It's a storage unit.
Yeah,
Now.
okay.
It's awful. There's like this. You look at this area and you're like, wow, there's some cool trade paperbacks, and oh my god, a spectacular Spider Ham bust. Where did you get that? And then it's just boxes everywhere, and it looks like shit.
Yeah.
It's like.
Well, that's your job, is selling all those.
Well,
that's exactly
their
my
college
job.
fund.
Yeah, but nobody cares.
Comics are back. Are you kidding?
Yeah, but nobody wants them because
Sell them to some other poor
the
sap.
boom is over.
Right.
The boom happened in the 80s, and that's when I was a kid, and that's when I bought all my shit. So like I have some stuff, but I read it. So if you're out there and you want Wolverine 1 through 4, I got it. Hit me up. You want every G.I. Joe?
Sounds good.
Go for it.
You're the guy.
We already did the blow off because Steven blew off American
I do have
Idol,
a better
which is the
blow
great-
off.
Oh, you do?
I
Okay,
have an ultimate-
let's hear it.
Let's do another blow off.
Here's the blow off story I was going to tell.
Okay.
Was that I do a podcast, and we had
Going off track. You guys
Going
should
Off Track.
download it. Listen.
Thank you guys.
Great guests.
We've got
great hosts.
We're almost at 275 episodes.
Wow.
We've been going for a bit.
Mazel.
Thanks. And so we just did it. I just recorded one tonight, and then we had a guest coming afterwards, and I was like, I can't stay. I have another podcast to go to.
Nice.
See, that's the good version of using us as the blow off.
Yes, that's good. Thank you. Well, we're happy to be your excuse.
You guys
as
are
well.
awesome.
Thank you.
So you
miss
guys
hanging out.
rotate as hosts.
They have a cast.
Well, Jonah's the main dude.
He's the constant. If you were a Lost fan,
When we did the show
my
at
constant.
Rubber Tracks,
Yeah.
when we did that podcast there, because the guy who ran that studio, who's one of our producers, he said, you should do a podcast. And it took me a few years to get my shit together to do it.
Yeah.
Children, life, therapy. And so I'd always been a host by myself. I would do stuff with Jared Cotter on The Sauce way back then, that you wrote, and some other people, but it was always just me.
Right.
And I was
Flying
like,
solo.
I want a crew.
yeah.
Excuse me. So I called Jonah because
Ensemble.
he wrote The Rock Show, and then as my life got more ensconced with stay-at-home dadness, Jonah just kind of took the reins and ran with it. It also didn't hurt that his sister ended up on SNL for about 6 years.
Yeah.
Helps you get guests.
And so now
Anyway.
we had
That's awesome.
it was great. And also he's like the most well-liked music journalist in the world.
It's great.
And so everybody wants to hang with him. So it's really his podcast now, and I'm thrilled that I was there at the beginning, and I get to come in when I can.
That's awesome.
Well, people should definitely check out your podcast, Going Off Track. It's super fun.
Thanks.
You've had a lot of great guests, including Matt Goldich.
Oh, he was
Andrew
awesome.
Goldstein.
He was like, hey, how'd your live show go?
The album
The
recording
album,
was
yeah,
great.
yeah.
It should come out later
Matt
this year.
just, Matt just had the photo shoot for the album cover
Yes.
today.
Yeah,
Look at his haircut.
Was it above? Did they shoot you down?
No, it's actually, I apologize. It's tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
It will have happened by the time
It will
this
have
posts,
happened
but
by the
it
time
will
this
be
drops.
tomorrow.
so great. Congratulations. Good
Thank
for you.
you. Appreciate it. And congratulations to everything. Is there anything else you want to let people know?
How do we
anything to
find
promote?
you?
Where do we
Just
find
social
you?
media?
Dude, I am the worst. So I had to, after the election, get off social media because it was hurting
lot
my
of
heart.
people.
Yeah.
So I'm on the Twitter, but I don't really post that much. I mostly just read. I'm really I am.
You should throw me some faves. I always appreciate
I
it.
like both of what you guys write every day. You make me laugh. I need it. I miss being able to hang. I'm very much a shot of the 80s, man. I'm a slacker, and that's
Right.
how I kind of roll with stuff. It's like if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, you can find me on Twitter. You can find Going Off Track. It's probably the
Stephen
easiest
Smith
way.
says, right?
Stephen Smith says
With a
yes.
V, no PH.
And I meant to mention, Going Off Track, there was a write-up recently on a website, I forget where it was, but about your episode with Jesse Camp.
Oh yeah, that
which
was
must have been
crazy.
The MTV VJ, he won the contest, and then he
Yes.
became the VJ.
Yes, he won the contest, and they also booked Dave Holmes. That same contest.
he's wonderful.
Who's one of I've never met him. Heard one of the greatest people, and I would love to
nice
meet him
guy.
and just talk to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jesse was. I was Skyping that episode, which I do from home every once in a while, and I said I just stopped. I just turned the computer off, and he kept going. You can't even tell that I left.
Yeah.
That's great.
But it was fun.
People should definitely check that out. Well,
Does he
thanks.
still look like Jesse Camp?
Yeah.
Oh, well, all right.
He's still tall, gaunt, skinny,
Like
and
makes appearances at Comic-Cons, I guess?
dude, he's a living wrestling promo. That's
Yeah,
that's
I'm
all
sure.
he is.
Thank you, Steve. This has been awesome.
You guys are awesome.
Thanks
Stay-
for
love ya.
blowing up your podcast for our
Yes,
podcast.
for real.
Yay, stay busy, everyone.
busy.
Voicemail because I'm busy. Whenever I get with her, say I'm busy. And I'm gonna hit you later because I'm busy.